Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are new. If you are new here, my name is Elena, and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. My youngest is 6 and on the autism spectrum, and then my daughter is 8 and she is in 3rd grade or entering 3rd grade. We've just started our school year, and my oldest has just started 9th grade. We're going to kind of go over what my kids are reading, so if that's something you'd like to see, stay tuned. This is kind of our library haul. We go to the library about once, maybe twice a month, probably more like twice a month, but you know, it's hit or miss sometimes. So I'm just gonna go over with some of my kids' favorite books and what they've checked out this month. We'll start with my youngest. My youngest will check out books on repeat. They're kind of a comfort to him, I've noticed. The same with TV shows and movies. He likes to watch the same ones over and over. He'll also check out some books that are a little older for him because he sees his older siblings checking them out and he just wants to be part of the group. So some of the books that are on that topic are books that my oldest originally checked out and then my daughter started looking at. And then because the two of them were looking at them, my youngest started checking them out. And that is the Far Out Classic series. So these books take some of your more classic stories, more classic fairy tales, and kind of revamps them and gives them a new line. So for instance, Peter Pan in Mummyland, Rapunzel versus Frankenstein, and Alice, Secret Agent of Wonderland. These are really cool. These are graphic novel type of books. So what my youngest does is just kind of look at the pictures mostly. My daughter was just picking out a little bit of reading. I don't think that she was reading the whole thing. Yeah, the reading level says 3, 4, and she was a little bit of a struggling reader, so she may not have picked up all the words in here, but it was good for her to practice her reading. So they have these in here, and all the kids actually will we keep all our library books in a couple of baskets downstairs, and they'll kind of just pick through and look at everybody's books. The other book that my oldest introduced to my younger two is the Dogman series. This is by Dave Pilkey. I'm not sure if that's how he pronounces his last name, so I'm sorry if it's wrong. But this is also another graphic novel type book, a little bit simpler pages. And he just really enjoys looking at the pictures. He's actually memorized most of the story, so he'll go through and it'll look like he's reading it, but he's pretty much memorized the story. So that's another favorite of his. Another book that his older sister introduced to him was The Bad Kitty. So our library has 2 of these books. I'm not sure if there's any more. We'll have to check, but our library has 2. They have Bad Kitty, and then they have Bad Kitty, and I believe it's called And Poor Puppy. And it just talks about, it's just a little picture book that talks about this bad kitty and kind of why he's acting bad and then how they go about correcting that. Some really cool books that our library has in is another graphic novel type things, but these are Disney classics. So they have, our library fortunately has quite a few of these. They don't have the entire series, I don't think. They have Lady and the Tramp, Aladdin, some of these type stories, and then he checked out Dumbo. So it is in a graphic novel type too. You can see that graphic novels are big in our house right now. They also have some really cool look and find books. This one is The Secret Life of Pets too, but I got this for him, or he saw it first, and then I encouraged him to go ahead and get it for our quiet time. So he takes quiet time with me. If you've not seen how we do quiet time, I will link that video up in the cards and then down in the description also for you if you're interested in knowing how that works in our home. But they just have the little characters here, and then you search for them in the story here. And I thought that that would be a good quiet time activity for us. Oh, we did check out both books. So here's Poor Puppy and Bad Kitty. That's what that one's called. Some of the books that he saw just at the library and picked them up was it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. So he picked it up and he's just kind of thumbed through it. This is one that probably I'll read to him. I've not yet done it, but we've watched the show, the little cartoon, and he really likes it. Along the lines of Charlie Brown, we also got Charlie Brown, Let's Go to the Library. So this is another book that Mommy was reading to the kiddos. And my youngest really enjoys food. He's quite the foodie at 6 years old, and he likes all the things you would think a 6-year-old likes: cookies, pizza, cake, all the fun stuff. So he found this Cookie Monster's foodie truck book, it says a Sesame Street celebration of food, and he actually really likes going through recipe books. Sometimes I'll check out recipe books and he'll kind of thumb through them with me. He won't sit for hours with them, but he'll take a look at them. This one is not a recipe book. This just kind of talks about snacks and the different kinds, fruits and vegetables, and healthy snacks. Kind of goes over where they come from. So it's just a fun little colorful book. And then the last book that he grabbed before we left was A Cars Christmas. This is just because he really likes Disney cars, or Pixar cars, so he grabbed this one too, and then that's been in our library bag. For my daughter, she will check out books on repeat also, but she has been very into Splatoon. It is a video game and a graphic novel series, apparently, because she has checked all of these out. So there are these little Splatoon graphic novels that actually open up the opposite way. I know that some of these words really tie her up, so she will ask her older brother, because her older brother had introduced her to this game. But our library has quite a few, so she's checked out quite a few. So these she just kind of thumbs through. Another series, though, that she has been enjoying that our librarian actually introduced her to is another graphic novel, but this one is called Baby Mouse. This one is kind of cute. I have seen these at Costco, like a series of them, but she had just been checking them out at the library and wasn't quite sure how much she enjoyed them, so I didn't pick them up. And of course, and now that she's been checking out the books more often, they're not there anymore. But thankfully, the library has a ton of these books, and so this is just following a little baby mouse and her adventures, and again, it is a little graphic novel type book. She also picked out a Barbie book. This is one of the, oh no, it's not a ready to read. This is a graphic novel also. So a Barbie graphic novel, fashion superstar. She said, I asked her, I was like, did you ever read that? And she said she did, and then it was okay. She enjoyed it. Now, every once in a while, not once in a while, most of the time we go, I'll pick out a couple of books for the kids too that I think might interest them, or that I want to read out loud to them. This month, what I picked out for them was The Very Fairy Princess, Attitude of Gratitude by Julie Andrews and Emma Walton Hamilton. It follows a little girl and her day at school and how they are doing their attitude of gratitude at school and all the adventures that happens with that. The other book that I picked out for them was The Book Dragon. This is by Cal Andrews and illustrated by Eva, oh, I'm going to mess this up, Chatelain? But this one is, it says, beware the book dragon. She'll snatch your books in the middle of the night to add to her hoard. But brave young Rose Hilda is out to prove that books are for reading, not hoarding. Yeah, Mom would do good with that lesson too. I have a lot of books on the shelf I haven't read yet. But I thought this was a fun book, and I picked this one up for them as well. Now for my oldest, he also is very into graphic novels, as you could probably imagine. He is also very into Pokemon and Plants vs. Zombies, so he picked up a little Plants vs. Zombie book and a Pokemon book. My youngest actually saw this one on the shelf. He really enjoys Spider-Man, but this book reads more like a chapter book. So we got it anyways. My oldest said, I'll pick it up and kind of read it to him. But they read a little bit of it and decided that they didn't really enjoy it. And so this will be returned sooner than the other ones. A series that my oldest really enjoys and has read over and over is the Middle School series. This one is the Middle School Ultimate Showdown. This is by James Patterson. He really enjoys this author, and he's read a ton from him in his series that he does. And so this is, I know, a repeat checkout that he's read over and over but enjoys. A new series that we found at the library and that he finds that he really enjoyed is Homerooms and Hall Pass, and this is by Tom O'Donnell. I'm not really sure. I think that there are 3 in this series. Our library is really great because it's always getting, every time we go in we see a few new books. So this one says, welcome to Homerooms and Hall Passes, the role-playing game of non-adventure. Imagine, if you will, a place without monsters, magic, treasure, elves, quests, or even, to be perfectly honest, much excitement at all. The place is called Middle School. So he's checked these out and really enjoys them. These are, like I said, part of a series. It's really cool. It's got like an introduction of the characters here, and I believe it had like a map or something too in one of these. I just kind of thumbed through it with him. Oh yeah, here it is. It's a really pretty little map. So that is another series that he has enjoyed. And then this is a graphic novel, but these are really cool. Another just great book that our library has. They have science comics, and they teach you all different kinds of things. I know that he's checked out a cooking one, and we checked out a gardening one. This time around, he checked out Plagues, the Microscopic Battlefield. And he kind of read through it and just loves to give me all kinds of little tidbits and facts that he's learned in here. And then because it is in the graphic novel, it's really appealing to him. So I really enjoy that our library has those available for us. I'm also going to go ahead and share what I picked out from the library. Sometimes I don't get to pick out books because I'm just with the kids, and it can be a little bit hard to corral them when it's time to leave and I don't get a chance to look at books. Sometimes what I was doing was putting my books on hold so that I can just pick up my books and go. So I would kind of search the library catalog online and put them on hold and do it that way. But this trip around, my kiddos let me peruse the aisles, and so I picked up just a couple of what I call lighthearted reads. This one is The Lonely Hearts Club. I've not read this one yet. These are more, I would call, like YA books. So don't judge me, because it's nice and it's lighthearted and a good way to escape. This is The Lonely Hearts Club by Elizabeth Yulberg, and it says, Penny is sick of boys and sick of dating, so she vows no more. She's had one too many bad dates and has been hurt by one too many bad boys. So she starts this Lonely Hearts Club and then finds herself near legendary for her non-dating ways, which is too bad since the leader of the Lonely Hearts Club has found a certain boy she can't help but like. Isn't that the way? So I picked up this one, and then I also picked up A Love and Luck, and this one I did read. It is Addie is visiting Ireland for her aunt's over-the-top wedding. Oh, I remember. So I read this. I read this in like a day or two. That's what I really enjoy about these books, is that I can carve out chunks of time to read. I can go through them pretty quickly. But this was really cute. It followed Addie in Ireland and her brother, and Addie has been heartbroken and is keeping a secret from her mom, and her brother, her older brother, knows and wants her to tell. And it's just kind of their adventures and what they go through. The brother and her were really close, and this is kind of putting a wedge between their relationship. So it follows their adventure in Ireland, and at the end we find out whether or not she tells her mom and how that goes. So along the graphic novels, it has hit me too. Our library has got a few classics in the graphic novels, and the one that I picked up was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I was so excited. I've been picking these up, and actually my oldest has picked it up and has thumbed through it too, so that's a really great way, I think, for him to be introduced to some of these books that we've maybe not read. But it is in a graphic novel type book, and I just think it's so great and neat to see classics in a style like this. Another book, this is the judgment-free zone, that I picked out that I wanted to read, was the amazing, fantastic, incredible Stan Lee. So I really like the Marvel series, and we've been really into comic books and looking at kind of the history and following Stan Lee's career. And so this is kind of a graphic novel also that follows it, and it's just like a story about him, not an autobiography, but a mini biography about Stan Lee. Stan Lee is the most legendary name in the history of comic books, the leading creative force behind the rise of Marvel Comics. In this unique, richly illustrated book, Lee tells the story of his extraordinary life with the same inimitable energy and offbeat spirit that he brought to the world of comics. So, oh, actually, maybe it is part autobiography, because it is by Stan Lee and Peter David and Colleen Doran. So this was another fun book that we picked up that my oldest and my youngest have all thumbed through. And then the last book that I picked up, I was super excited to see it. I read a couple in the series before. This one is called Cold-Hearted, A Tale of the Wicked Stepmother by Serena Valentino. So these kind of tell the backstories of the villains in the Disney, sorry that glare, you gotta love these library shiny covers. These tell the backstories of the Disney villains, and I just really like the different perspective, and I'm kind of just a little bit more. I've always been fascinated with the stories of but why? Like, but why? But why do they act that way? So these are really fascinating to me. Like I said, I've read a couple before. This says, this was supposed to be her happily ever after. It's a familiar tale, a kind and beautiful young girl reeling from loss, a doting father frantic to bring a mother's love back into his daughter's life, and the selfish, cruel woman who insinuates herself into that family. A woman so unfeeling, so cold-hearted, that when her new husband dies, she makes the girl a servant in her home. But who is the evil stepmother, that icy lady of the house? How did she become so closed off that in the face of a child's grief, she thought only to seek wealth and power for herself and her abhorrent daughters? Before that fateful ball, before the glass slipper and the prince, there was another story. A story of love and grief, of hope and dreams dashed. It is the story of Lady Tremaine. So I've not got to read this yet, but I'm hoping to. They do have a couple other in this series, but I can't remember which ones I read and which ones that I haven't. So I'm going to check that out, and these will probably be ones that I put on hold and then pick up when my kiddos go into the library to exchange their books. So that is it. That's kind of just what we're checking out and what we're reading. I thought it would be fun to share and see if there were any books that interest you or any books that your kids are reading. Comment down below and let me know what they're reading, if you're visiting the library where you are, and what books you're enjoying. Thanks so much for watching. I truly appreciate you spending the time with me. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and then hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. These are really cool. These are graphic novel